Hey y'all, welcome back to Conscientious Cosmos. Long time no see. I hope you all have been well. Welcome, returning faces and new faces. I'm very glad and happy to be talking about today's topic. Oh my goodness, I'm just looking through my notes right now. So, Today, I'm going to be talking about the modalities. Still working through the basics of astrology. I know I've done a couple of topics that were a little bit like, what is this girl talking about? But I always like to come back to the basics and, explain some of the fundamentals of astrology. That's also a key part of what I like to talk about here because I feel like I have a lot of new people or even people that just want to refresh, no matter who, honestly. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the modalities in astrology. If you've been enjoying my content so far, make sure to give a like, a subscribe, a comment. I'd love to start getting to know you guys and also make sure that you can put in your recommendations, anything that you want to hear about. I'm happy to talk about. So, what are the modalities? In astrology, modalities also called quadruplicities. They represent different ways that zodiac signs express their energy, and it's just another one of those facets of the signs in astrology in general that kind of add that extra touch and depth to how people act. So there's three different modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And each of these modalities, they describe, temperaments, approaches to life, and yeah, let's get into it. So the first sign is, or the first modality are cardinal signs. These are known as like the initiators of the zodiac. They often represent beginnings, and especially so because they fall in line with the start of each season. So the start of summertime is Cancer. Think of, water, going to the beach, and also just summertime, summertime energy. So, key traits of cardinal signs again, initiation, natural leaders, oftentimes, action oriented, very ambitious, dynamic, and just super pioneering. They excel at starting projects, but they might struggle with follow through. So, that could potentially be a shadow side. But nonetheless, they do like to recenter and they feel most alive, and their lungs are really full of breath when they hone in on those key traits in whatever ways that their life calls to it. So the cardinal signs are Aries, and remember that they each represent a start of the season. So Aries is the spring equinox. You have this, fire sign, so even more of a trailblazer, definitely charging through with a lot of enthusiasm, especially being the first sign of the zodiac. It makes sense that we have a cardinal sign starting us off as being the first sign of the zodiac. It just makes sense. Cancer, again, I mentioned that it falls in line with the summer solstice. It is that more like, I guess you could say, nurturing initiator. And they definitely lead a lot more with intuition and grounded emotion, not uncontrolled emotion, controlled emotion. Very few leaders or people that excel in life are the ones that or I'll just say the people that excel in life and are leaders and are very successful, they are very much tapped into their emotions, but at the same time, they're able to control them. They have this self awareness, they get to know their emotions and the patterns of them so that they can get to those, those high end goals. Next, we have Libra, which falls in line with the fall equinox, which I'm very excited about. I know I love me some summertime, but boy, has it been hot. With Libra, it's got those diplomatic features, representing the scales, being ruled by Saturn, which is a bit more about structure and discipline. So, in terms of this initiation and the initiatory qualities of Libra, you have more of like a initiating balance and relationships here. Um, that also comes with the fact that Libra is ruled by by the planet Venus, that is about balance, that is about relationships, so, and harmony, of course. So, um, the start of fall as well is definitely about, creating that balance and intertwining that balance of summertime and what comes after fall, which is winter. And then the next sign that's a cardinal sign, we have Capricorn falling in line with the winter solstice. And here you have a very ambitious energy, somebody that likes to build structures and systems. And also Saturn ruled like Libra. Well, actually, I'll say that Libra is ruled by the planet Venus, Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. But Libra finds its exaltation, apologies, its exaltation. So it's like risen up more. It's brighter in the sign of when it's in, say, if your Saturn is in Libra, I'll say that, apologies. If your planet Saturn is in Libra, then that's an exaltation right there. And that's another video that I'll do where I'll go into the qualities of what's exaltation, what does fall mean, and things like that. These are different terms that you'll hear in astrology. So Libra is exalted in the planet Saturn, so it you do see more of those elements of discipline there, and that's why that Venus and Saturn harmony comes through kind of very deliciously sometimes when done right. So, yeah, and Capricorn is definitely about breaking things down, composting things can be a quality of Saturn, but that composition is required for things to be built, and that architectural quality of building up businesses, homes, relationships, dreams, habits, things like that. So next, let's talk about the fixed signs. Fixed signs, they occur in the middle of each season. They represent stability, determination, and a resistance to change. The time that I'm posting this, it's Leo season. We're in a fixed sign season. So we just passed Cancer season, and now we're in Leo season. Summer has started, and Leo is here to keep the fire, the heat boiling, and it's only going to get hotter. It's only going to get hotter. It might cool down once we get to Virgo season. I'm expecting that a little bit, but we'll see. The key traits with fixed signs, very stubborn and loyal. I think that though I always spin words in a positive aspect, I'm a Taurus, so my stubbornness has definitely saved me in a lot of ways. It's kept my personal morals intact, and it will continue to as I as I follow my level up journey. Being loyal to my own dreams first and foremost, I think is what's really going to lay the foundation for these other traits of being a fixed sign, which is, reliability, persistency, especially when it comes to work or, even favors sometimes, and other elements of that are just like a strong willpower is required for that loyalty, reliability, persistency. If you don't have the will, then how can you, I have written up on my mirror, I'm like, will is decision. Like, there's not really such thing as willpower, but there is the power to make a decision. And that's something that I've sat on, but you don't just all of a sudden have willpower. You get to will decision, by having, emotion and a vision. It's about envisioning something first and foremost. And I think that um, that is a quality with any person, of course, but true visionaries, um, they back that vision with, strong emotion and passion. I think fixed signs can be very passionate people. Anybody truly. Again, we have every sign in our chart, so everybody has that passion within them to to drive their visions for life and their goals and what they're ascending to, and that, it drives the will even more, and that willpower then turns into, manifestation, so an actual, tangible results. And by doing that, you can really excel and maintain and build upon what's already been started. So I think all of those key traits definitely mend together to, um, you can harness that and mend them together to get your desired result for sure. And that's what I'm honing in on nonetheless. I have some major goals in this life, so I keep those qualities very close to my heart in regards to my morals and what I'm moving towards specifically. Um, yeah. So let's move into the signs. What are the fixed signs? I mentioned Leo, I mentioned Taurus. Let's talk about what season they fall in. Taurus falls in mid spring. So you have a very steadfast element here, and somebody that is definitely a provider of beauty, stability, um, a sense of oneness, a sense of groundedness, especially since it's an earth sign. Um, that's a I've had many people call me that. Very generous, able to maintain resources with patience is a quality to develop if you want to maintain what Taurus enjoys, which is comfort and luxury and, slow growth. And you see that element of mid spring, things are growing, but it's that slow growth. You don't really see that, like, compared to Leo season, which is falling in midsummer. I have a garden, so Taurus season compared to midsummer, Taurus season was slow growth. Leo season, we're getting the fruit. Leo season again falls in midsummer, very charismatic, oftentimes seen as a performer. And again, you have that steadfast quality of, what you want to see always is somebody that shines their light. And I think there's something that we have to learn from every sign, but I definitely, in each season, I enjoy seeing what elements I can learn from each of these signs. And I've definitely been in that that era of like, okay, how am I going to get to that? How can I shine my light more? How can I, bring out my charisma a bit more, especially in some of the fields that I'm entering in regards to career. So, yeah, that's something to think about. And I think when we allow our light to shine a bit more, then it's even clearer what we should be focusing on, what lights us up from the inside, what just feels good in our soul. Um, and doing that, yeah, for sure, with consistency, steadfastness, rooted, fixed. The next fixed sign that we have is Scorpio. Can often be confused as a cardinal sign, I think, just because it's Martian ruled. It's ruled by the planet Mars, so we have that kind of like red hot quality that's usually attributed to Aries. So Scorpio falls in the season of mid fall. Very intense. Again, that word intense that I use comes from the fact that it is ruled by Mars, but in also modern significations of astrology, it's ruled by the planet Pluto, which is known for its intensity despite being a dwarf planet. And there's this air of transformation that also comes with being ruled by the planet Pluto. making big things small and small things big. And we're in Pluto and Aquarius, and that hasn't been experienced by this generation and by this world for the last 200 plus years. So we're definitely seeing some scorpionic qualities for sure in this world, and it's very exciting to just ride the wave of that energy for yourself and your own dreams. What are you intensely transforming in your life to get to the goals that you have, that you can see yourself having 20 years from now? um, Scorpio is definitely a sign that I've personally experienced, having the ability to maintain emotional depth. When that is ignored, I do see a sense of instability. Again, I'm not saying, um, again, it's not about not acknowledging your emotions when it comes to emotional control. It's about controlling your emotions so that you can, just be self aware of that emotional depth without freaking out. It's possible. Um, yeah. So Aquarius is the next fixed sign. This falls in midwinter. It's the alien sign. Very innovative. Definitely a visionary. Again, Pluto and Aquarius. This is the time that we're really getting that relationship between emotional depth, like I talked about. Emotion plus vision equals will, will, the will, which is your decision, and then that equals manifestation, something tangible. So those Plutonian qualities and the Aquarian qualities, this is the time. This is very powerful, potent energy. Any time is the time. But, especially now, if you're tapped in like that, even without the astrology, the time is now. So, Aquarius is definitely reminding us, be innovative, in your own ways that you need, and envision that in the ways that you need. That fixed quality is going to allow that steadfast, paced work towards, that ideal vision. Yeah. So next we have mutable signs. Mutable signs, they occur at the end of each season. They represent a sense of adaptability and transition from one season to the next. Key traits here are a lot of flexibility, again, adaptability, excellent communicators, mediation, um, versatility, quick thinking. They excel at finishing projects and preparing for change. So, mutable signs include Gemini, which fall in the late spring. You have I think communication is even more highlighted here with Gemini being an air sign, and that's also a quality of air signs is um, communication. Also, a sense of curiosity with Gemini. Gemini is one of the signs that you'll see represents children in astrology, and just like the twins, the siblings, children, young people. So there's a sense of curiosity there that does aid in that communication, because when you have curiosity, you maybe ask more questions in life and you find more answers as a result, more context to life, and through that it makes adaptability a lot easier, I find, because when you have a lot of context of this life, then I feel like you have more choices. You have more, you don't know until you know, and when you know, you can, potentially do better. And you have that intellectual flexibility here with Gemini. And with Virgo is also ruled by Mercury. Like Gemini, that's another quality of communication there, and adaptability, flexibility, quick thinking, with Mercury. But Virgo doesn't fall in the late spring, it falls in the late summer, so that's the sign preceding Leo season, which is now. So when it comes August 22nd or 23rd, then we'll have our Virgo season. And then income, practical perfectionism and refinement, and a lot of analysis of where we can adapt for sure. The next mutable sign is Sagittarius, which falls in the late fall. It is more of a philosophical sign. It's ruled by the planet Jupiter. Um, and you see a sense of like super high intellect, the word that's coming to mind right now is high value conversations, things that are going to get you to that next level and not keep you in a state of like, my God, the only word that's coming to mind is poverty mindset. I'm like, you want to get up out of, being addicted to suffering when you're a philosophical explorer asking philosophical questions. There's no room for being addicted to suffering and being um, on a level that doesn't allow you to grow and shed your limiting beliefs. That's also something with Jupiter and Sagittarius is belief systems. They're often you'll find elements of Sagittarius and Jupiter in religious institutions or spiritual institutions. So that is definitely a part of expansion. Um, and that adaptability is even more inherent there because when you're holding very deep philosophical truths, adaptation is required through those shedding of limiting beliefs because you're literally expanding your mind and the way that you move through life as a result. So the next mutable sign is Pisces, which falls in late winter. And here we have the water sign ruled by the planet Neptune, very compassionate with the water energy. A dreamer, somebody who finds adaptation through being more fluid in life and not necessarily tied down. I think the container is important for water. That's why Aquarius falls before Pisces because Aquarius is the water bearer. Aquarius is also Neptune and Saturn ruled, so you have this with the Saturn rulership of Aquarius, you have this energy of like having that container for something like the preceding sign like Pisces, which is more about being fluid and in that flow. So yeah, late winter. I love all of these signs. I hope you're enjoying yourself and having fun. It's fun to see where these signs fall within your chart and see how that element of mutability, fixedness, and cardinality aligns in your chart. And when you see it, it'll make perfect sense. It'll make perfect sense. You'll be like, oh yes, I am a little bit like that. I am a little bit like that. So some fun ways to remember the modalities are definitely as a team, everything is connected in astrology, everything is connected in this life. So cardinal signs are the starters. They're bursting into the room, they've got new ideas, they get everyone excited and pumped up. Fixed signs are the ones that build, they roll up their sleeves, they make sure that the work actually gets done. And again, that steadfastness and pacing oneself and actually building that masculine container is inherent to that. And then you have mutable signs, which are the finishers. They're tying up loose ends. They prepare everyone for the next big project, focusing on those minute details, seeing which, threads are loose again and tying those up. So yeah, understanding your modalities, they're going to provide you a lot of insight in how you naturally approach situations and how they interact with the world around you, and harnessing in on those higher value qualities of the modalities of the signs, of the elements. They're going to get you to that next level. The dreams that you have, and there's something to learn from each of those for any part of your journey. Tap into that energy. Just know that you're held. You're going to be finding your way in the way that you need to, and definitely trust yourself that it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Um, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me today. Um, I will be updating my services soon, so I just will talk about them right now. I do offer consultations. You can book a consultation with me through my Calendly, but as I mentioned, I will be updating my services, so I will be coming out with a few other things that you can uh, explore astrology a bit more with me, essentially, whether it be through, personal teaching, and it's tailored to you in your chart. We're going to be looking at the modalities within your chart, the elements within your chart, the actual signs within your chart, the planets, the degrees, from everywhere, and how it aligns with where you are presently. You know, I think it's very important to move from that end where you are presently. It automatically clears up things that have happened in your past. I'm not one to really focus on your past and stuff like that. We'll look at that if we need to, but for the most part, I definitely deal within the present and where you're going from there. Uh-oh. I'm watching my cat about to go snatch a bird. Run, bird, run! Oh no, she's gonna get him. I just have to go. Go, little birdie! She almost got him. That would have been so bad. That would have been so sad. I think the bird is teasing her now. Oh my gosh. It is definitely summer vibes. This is. And also, happy Lionsgate portal. If you guys don't know what that is, it's some sort of. I need to look it up. Um, it's so funny. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Lionsgate portal is happening today on the 8th, August 8th, 8/8. It's a yearly astrological event occurring around August 8th where the Earth, the star Sirius, and the constellation Orion, they align. So this creates a very powerful energy gateway, which is believed to enhance manifestation and spiritual growth. So in regards to that, you best believe I'm going to be journaling about all of my dreams. We also have this being in conjunction with the full moon. So the full moon is at its peak tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time at least, August 9th at 3:55 a.m. But the full moon is actually like already full and gearing up in terms of energy. That's why it's like even more of a potent time for you to call in those manifestations. Again, I talked about how to manifest. You have emotion and vision. You have the passion, your love for what you're manifesting, your joy for what you're manifesting, your happiness for what you're manifesting, your groundedness, your peace for what you're manifesting, plus your vision, visualizing. You could do some meditation. You could just simply visualize where you're going and the dreams that you have, the things that you want to accomplish. Envision yourself finishing something or starting something. Or clearing something out of the way, releasing old habits are a perfect time, especially around the full moon. Because after the full moon peaks, you want to let go of something. The moon is now in its disseminating phase and getting ready to shed everything that has built up over the last month or however long. But yeah, emotion plus vision drives your will and decision, which equals manifestation, and you'll get something tangible out of that. So you don't just simply manifest. You have to have, the love, the passion, the joy, the peace that you know you're going to get out of this vision that you have in your life, and then you're making the appropriate decisions. Maybe you aren't. Maybe you're calling in somebody else to bring that. You're manifesting somebody else to have the will for you. Okay, that's also sometimes how it works. People will be like, "Oh my God, I'm manifesting something," and it just happened. Yeah, you probably manifested somebody and stirred up the cosmic energy for other people to make it happen for you. So that's also a way that it happens. But nonetheless, your work and your energy was a part of the equation. It takes two to tango when we're manifesting with the universe, for sure. Um, it's called Lionsgate Portal because it's in association with Leo season. We're midway through Leo season right now, so definitely hone in on your courage and your strength and your self-expression, and that's going to make the manifestation and your spiritual growth, emotional growth, physical growth even more renowned and robust in for till the end of time. So yeah, that's definitely do more research on that if that's something that you're interested in. But nonetheless, keep an eye out on my socials. I'm at Conscientious Cosmos on Instagram, also on Pinterest, also on TikTok. Um, but you'll definitely get the most amount of um, knowledge from me if you book a consultation through the Calendly. But yes, keep an eye out for more services that I'll be providing in the future. So thank you again so much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will definitely see y'all in the next one.